Hey everybody, welcome back to Matt Kiteboarding Wing Wednesdays. I am Tucker, and today I'm going to talk with you about the new F1 Strike version 3. This is a 2023 wing. Just released here in April of 2023. So we've been really looking forward to this wing. It's a favorite year after year. And we're gonna do a quick unboxing and overview of this wing. And then stay tuned here in a week or two. We're gonna have a comprehensive review on the wing once you've had a little bit more time on it to really get a good feel for it, give you a comparison to the version 2 wing and maybe some other popular wings in the winging industry. So if you're into that, hang on. If you have any questions along the way, put those in the comments section. We'll be glad to answer you. Or you can always just pick up the phone and call us here at the shop or jump on live chat too. So we'll be happy to talk with you either way. All right, so let's get going. Get this bag open and pump this wing up to take a good look at it. So we have our bag here, beautifully redesigned bag in this kind of mint teal color. Got your pump straps here, kind of elastic pump straps, and your vent netting here so you can get all the sand and moisture out of your bag if there's a little left on your wing. We have our accessory pack, which comes with your valve wrench and your inflation pump adapter. So you don't need to buy a separate adapter, it comes included, or you may already have one on your pump if you already have an F1 or WMFG pump. There's also some little bladder patches in here, so that's really handy if you get a little poke on your wing on the beach, like from the dune grass or some shells. You can quick pull that bladder and get a patch on it so you don't ruin your session, get back out on the water and have some fun. And let's get it pumped up. Okay, so we are pumped up here. We have the F1 Strike version 3 wing, or the Strike 3rd as they like to write it on some of their stuff here. And this is a new wing for sure. Definitely the same kind of pedigree as the version 2, so you strike lovers will be really happy, but they've made some really significant improvements for the version 3 that I think everybody's going to be really happy with. The first thing I noticed out of the box, I'm going to inflate it, we have a dual point inflation now, which I'm a big fan of. If you guys watch my videos, you know I have been screaming at the top of my lungs at brands: isolate the leading edge in the strut bladders. It just makes everything so much more simple, so much more safe, so much more versatile, and it's not that hard to move your pump from the strut to the leading edge and vice versa. The dump valve situation is so much easier, so much quicker. It's just easier. So really happy to hear that they've gone this direction, happy to see they've gone this direction with the dual point inflation. They have that same style of HP sort of inflation valve that they've always had, same as like Nash or Fly Surfer, or if you have an inflatable paddleboard, it probably has the same valve, so you can share adapters. The first mistake I made, I didn't even realize it till I was halfway through pumping, they're recommending you inflate the leading edge first. So this is backwards of what most brands would say in a dual point inflation. Usually you're gonna want to inflate the strut first, because that kind of creates that shape of the strut into the leading edge, that sort of curved shape. Sometimes with other brands, if you don't inflate the strut first, then you can get an issue where the bladder doesn't want to conform to that curvature of the leading edge and it can blow out. But F1's saying the opposite, so we're going to trust them. We're going to inflate the leading edge first and then the strut. We're also noticing we have a higher PSI rating on these than previous years. So we're at 9 PSI recommended on the leading edge and 10 PSI on the strut. So much higher PSIs this year, and the reason they're able to do that is because they have really leveled up the toughness, the durability of the material. They're using thicker Dyneema, stronger Dyneema this year, and also using some different types of ripstop in the canopy. You'll notice down here we have this kind of micro type ripstop, where it's a 2x2 but very tiny cross sections of squares, whereas in the canopy in these areas you have more of that dual ripstop traditional kind of canopy, so light but strong, and then you know, extra strong where it needs to be. So they've really thought about adding durability where it needs to be, but not adding it just everywhere and increasing the weight too much. So good on F1. The panel layout is completely different from anything else on the market, from anything we've seen from F1. You can tell, again, they've really thought about where they're placing those seams and why they're there. Really looking to reinforce the load and how it gets displaced across the canopy. And that's going to give you a stiffer, better responding wing, a wing that can handle being overpowered better, and also a wing that's performance is going to last longer. It's not going to degrade as quickly. It's not going to bag out as quickly as just your standard square layout, double ripstop, basic canopy. So you can tell they've really put a lot of work this year into leveling up the durability and the stiffness of the wing, which was my biggest, kind of complaint in previous years. I've loved the Strike year after year. It's always a go-to for me. But as a heavier rider that always is riding overpowered, the flex in a wing is always a concern. When you have that flex and you're always riding them like that, the durability becomes a concern in the long run and how quickly they're losing that performance or bagging out. So really high hopes for this. And, I can say just looking at it, I know it's going to be that much better than previous years because of those improvements that we're seeing there. Now that I've kind of pointed out some of the obvious stuff, I'll go through kind of my normal front to back overview here, looking at the wing. We'll start at the leading edge handle here, surf handle, similar to years past, kind of shape, size. You got the nice neoprene patch so you don't scuff up your knuckles. They do have a stiffer handle this year. They've found a way to sew in a plastic reinforcement. So it's not like a full-on hard boom style handle. It's got a little bit of give, but much stiffer than years previous. They've also added some reinforcement on this handle so that, even when you're doing the worst, dragging it through the nasty swell, taking hard falls and stuff like that, that it can hold up a little bit more without needing any repair. Going to the leash here, kind of same leash as last year, that nice rope style Bungee, same cuff, comfortable cuff. Does the job. It's removable, so if you want to connect it just to a waist leash or a waist belt, you can do that with this, or just put a little carabiner on there. Going to the handles, at first look you might think, hey, that's the same handle that we know and love on the Strike. It's not. It's slightly improved and changed this year, kind of like the leading edge handle. The dimensions are roughly the same, maybe a little bit thicker, I would say, but they've sewn in that plastic rigidifier, they call it, or just a plastic support through there. So it gives it a more direct response. It just gives you more control of the wing and how you're moving it. The handle doesn't slope and slop as much. So that's a positive move in my mind anyway. It makes it easier to grip the handle because this nylon outer coating isn't shifting. It's sewn in all the way through all that reinforcement. So it's a really cool solution that's not a proper hard handle, quote unquote, but a harder handle. So those that have loved this style in the past should still love it, but those people looking for a little bit more direct response with less slop in the handling are really gonna love this. And then just like the surf handle, they've extended that out all the way through here. You have a big patch there and a strap around the strut to really improve that durability, the stiffness, and to really increase the longevity of the wing so that when you're buying a new wing, it's lasting you longer and the performance is staying good for the life of the wing. Going through into our harness line connection, really it's the same as previous years. It's been reinforced a bit more, as you can tell there from the stitching lines, but for the most part, the same harness line that you know and love. With an easy loop connection here and either a loop or a lark's head connection here on the rope style connection. The backhand handle here, like the front handle, has been stiffened and reinforced. It is a bit shifted backwards. So heavier riders like myself, riders wanting a bit more power in the sail, should have a better balance between your front and rear hands. Again, as a heavier rider, always riding overpowered, the Strike in previous years has been a little backhand heavy for me. Not so much that it's something I don't like to ride, but it's it's enough that I notice more fatigue than I would with other wings that can balance kind of 50-50 power between my front and back hand. It would be more like 60-40. So I'm hoping, you know, with these new handle positions and those rigid handles, that I'll have a little bit more ease of use, a bit more ergonomic ride experience for myself as a heavier rider. So we'll find out. So stick around for the review and I can definitely tell you that. Getting into some of the other changes here, you look at the bottom of the wing, we have a stiff kind of scallop shape here coming through this back end of the wing. And it's really stiff, almost like a windsurf sail. There's some Dacron in there and some other magic that helps stiffen that section of the trailing edge. It helps reduce flutter, as well as these kind of soft battens here and there through the trailing edge of the canopy. It is, you know, very tight canopy. Overall shape, the overall foil section of the wing looks very similar to me to the version 2. I don't know that there's a lot of changes there. It does say in their literature it's a little faster, it's a little better upwind, so the racier guys will be happy. Those people riding a bit more overpowered should be happy. Help expand the range on the top end of the wing. Hopefully that doesn't sacrifice that low end grunt and lift that the Strike is known for, but we'll find out here and we'll definitely let you know in the review. But for the most part, looking at it, I mean, it looks a lot like the Strike we know and love. So I wouldn't anticipate this deviating too much from that Strike pedigree of that real lifty, grunty, powerful wing, one that's gonna pull you right up on foil super easy, one that's very lofty and will catch you during jumps. So really looking forward to riding this more. We have the 4 and the 5 that we're doing some extensive testing with. Definitely want to ride it in light wind, in medium wind, in high wind, compare it to some other benchmark products before we come to you with a comprehensive review. So that's what we're doing here today, is giving you the nuts and bolts of what the wing is and how it's kind of changed in terms of materials and design. And then we'll let you know how the rubber meets the road. The proof is in the pudding, so to speak, with the review here shortly. This has been Tucker with MattKiteboarding.com, and we'll see you next time.